Welcome back. Last week, 2 individuals were arrested and charged for the offense of possession, intent to supply, and an attempt to export cocaine in bananas. The Minister of National Security, Herman Gill Francis, was asked whether any communication is being held with the Ministry of Agriculture in relation to the continued smuggling of narcotics in food. He says this is a recurring problem on island.
On Friday, August 7th, 2020, Adrian Popo and Tommy DeLeese, both of Kakobabono, were arrested at the Castries Wharf for being found with 2 kilograms of cocaine, which were concealed in banana boxes. They were both charged for the offenses of possession of cocaine, intent to supply, attempt to supply, and handling. Minister for National Security and Justice, Herman Gill Francis, says the trend of having narcotics stashed and sometimes injected into food items to be exported or imported into St. Lucia has evolved into a long-standing issue.
But we have found drugs in food, dashing, breadfruit, all sorts of things. So we are very careful that persons who are exporting those items are recognized people.
He explained that the various industries are always working in collaboration in an attempt to address this issue, but he says the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is not omnipresent.
And there's always going to be cooperation between the agencies. The police can't be everywhere. The police don't have all the information. So sometimes other departments like Customs, Immigration, the Ministry of Agriculture and everything, they would give us the sort of information that we can follow on. So it's always a togetherness, cooperation for us to be able to solve crime. So that has been happening, but like I said, all of us have to be on our P's and Q's to be able to detect it.
Francis says in order to fight the narcotics trade in St. Lucia, people and officials need to work together. As of Monday, 11th August, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force informs that Popo and DeLeese were individually billed in the sum of EC $25,000 on each of the charges, cash or suitable surety. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Now back to the topic of the reopening of schools. Book lists are out, uniforms are being made, school supplies are being purchased. Schools are slated to reopen on the 8th of September, but many are raising concerns as to why this should not happen. We took to the streets to hear from you exactly how you feel about the reopening of schools.
Schools are slated to reopen in St. Lucia in September. We took to the streets to find out the concerns of members of the public on the proposed reopening of schools. Here's what they had to say.
In spite school will be opening in September, yes, it's a good business, a good opportunity for me to make some money. But at the same time, I have kids going to school. I just hope that the whole planning is strategic enough to make our children safe, right? Because I don't know about the logistical sides of the health sector and how they get these kids ready and if the system that they're putting in place will be safe for our kids.
It would be a good thing for the barbers, for me personally, because it's more here to cut, it's more money, understand? But on a health standpoint, as we can see the pandemic and things that's going on in the world, I don't think it would be a good idea to reopen so soon. Understand? At least wait for things to get back like close to the normalcy.
I definitely think that due to the pandemic crisis that we're now facing, the COVID-19 and all, it is important for the kids to learn, and however it's also important for us to secure our health. So the government or the Ministry of Education must first find a strategy, a way of how they are going to do this in a uniform way where the opening of the country won't affect the school or opening school. The kids won't be affected by any sickness or illness such as the COVID-19.
3 actions, right, because of the COVID-19, and we are not too sure what's happening. Okay, number one, the U.S. everywhere's closing to the US, and all of a sudden St. Lucia want to open to the US. So something is wrong somewhere. So I don't know. If I had my child, I wouldn't send her to school.
Schools, I find schools should stay closed still because everything is not settled yet. Coronavirus is still around. It doesn't make sense to send the children in the school and you may never tell who has it. Sometimes one child can have it and just pass around, just touching each other, and they don't even know. So it ain't making sense. They should leave it closed. That's what I find.
I think school should be open next month, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, we have no COVID-19 here. And as a matter of fact, I understand they're having two shifts, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So I think it's wise to give them a chance. Let's see how it's going to turn out. If anything gets worse, then they'll know, the government will know what to do. But give them a chance.
Thank you for those responses. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
The National Youth Council is joining the international community in commemoration of International Youth Day 2020. NYC President Nias Alfred says this year's theme, Youth Engagement for Global Action, is very fitting given the circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic. Shaka Wooding has more.
International Youth Day, which is commemorated on August 12th, is meant to signify and highlight the importance of young people, not just as a future generation, but also as the current driving force of change in the world. President of the National Youth Council, Nias Alfred, says the 2020 theme, Youth Engagement for Global Action, has never been more significant than now.
Now more than ever, as we navigate the difficulties of COVID-19, most of which predominantly affect youth as a demographic by virtue of their numerical preponderance, we must ensure that young people are not seen as issues to be fixed and clients of development, but rather as equal partners and solutions to the issues we face. Fully being cognizant, however, of the unfamiliarity of this situation and the fact that this global threat affects their very livelihoods and creates high levels of uncertainty and insecurity about their future.
The theme highlights the importance of the influence that young people can have over where the future is headed and how their political and social involvement can aid in creating better, more sustainable policies for the world. Alfred says moving forward, it is imperative that society no longer aims to create a future for young people, but instead takes action to create young people for the future.
We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Therefore, there must be a concerted effort to build and tap into the skills and talents of young people as effective agents of change. Equally, there must be an enabling environment to ensure that these skills can be utilized. Our very mission as the St. Lucia National Youth Council speaks to that philosophy, harnessing the talent, energy, and creativity of St. Lucian youth and transforming these into a potent resource for individual, community, and national transformation.
The NYC president says though the COVID-19 pandemic has proven difficult for young people, it has also brought about many avenues for young people to tap into their creative psyches and continue to build resilience. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
The governments of St. Lucia and China Taiwan continue to build their ties. On Monday, the newly appointed ambassador-designate of the Republic of China on Taiwan to St. Lucia, His Excellency Peter Shen, presented letters of credence to the Governor-General of St. Lucia, Sir Emmanuel Neville Snack. The Taiwanese ambassador reaffirmed his commitment to working with the government of St. Lucia towards the development of the country.
Ambassador-designate of the Republic of China Taiwan to St. Lucia, His Excellency Peter Chen, has presented his letters of credence to the Governor-General of St. Lucia, His Excellency Sir Emmanuel Neville Snack. In presenting his credentials, the ambassador reaffirmed his government's dedication to assisting in the development of St. Lucia. Ambassador-designate of the Republic of China Taiwan to St. Lucia, His Excellency Peter Shen, expressed his hopes of strengthening the diplomatic ties between the two countries during his tenure.
Evidence of our expanding and deepening relations has revealed itself in the close cooperation between Taiwan and St. Lucia in areas such as agriculture, education, medical care, information and communication technology, environmental protection, community development, and public infrastructure. High-level mutual visits, as well as youth and cultural exchanges between our two countries, have also fostered an environment for mutual respect and broader understanding. Your Excellency, as Ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, to St. Lucia, I wish to solemnly assure you that during my tenure, I shall spare no effort in further strengthening the friendly and mutually beneficial relations between our two countries.
Highlighting the collaboration between Taiwan and St. Lucia, the Governor General indicated that he is looking forward to working with the newly appointed Ambassador-designate of the Republic of China, Taiwan to St. Lucia. His Excellency Sir Emmanuel Neville Snack stated that St. Lucia will continue to advocate for the official recognition of Taiwan in the international community.
No one can doubt that given how solidly Taiwan stands on her feet vis-à-vis the nations of the world, she ought to be treated as equal in status with every other nation. The world being now a global village, our advocacy in that regard has been undeviating and constant. As she has in the past, St. Lucia will continue to advocate for Taiwan's participation in international organizations and will spare no effort in doing so. I am fully aware of the challenges Taiwan has been facing in her quest to gain official recognition by the majority of the international community. For as Minister for Foreign Affairs between 1987 and 1992, I never failed to advance her fitness, and in that respect, St. Lucia has never lost faith.
The presentation of letters of credence by the Ambassador-designate of the Republic of China, Taiwan to St. Lucia took place on Monday, August 10, 2020 at the Government House. From the Government Information Service, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Sports and weather are coming up after the break.